What's up guys, my name is Ace, and the Gunsmith feature in Call of Duty Vanguard has really been taken up to the next level. We have access to so many different attachments, and especially early on in the game's life cycle, this is quite confusing and it might be overwhelming to a lot of people. So I wanted to help you guys out with creating your class setups, and in today's video, I wanted to take a look at the top 5 attachments or attachment stats that you want to be looking for when creating your class setups in Vanguard. Now keep in mind throughout this video, I'm not going to be talking about barrel attachments or magazine attachments because these are unique to each individual weapon. Those will be covered in my gun guide series where I dive really deep into the stats of each one of the weapons individually. Today, I wanted to focus on attachments that are available at least on a wide variety of weapons. Some of these won't be available on every single gun, but at least for all of these, they are available on multiple weapons. So they're the types of attachments you at least want to keep an eye out for. And if it's available on the gun, I definitely recommend using it. So kicking it off, let's talk about an attachment that I've already made a video about, and it's going to be no surprise that it's in this video. This is the Vital Proficiency. And with this, it just increases the area on the body where you're able to deal critical damage, or headshot damage essentially. And since that headshot damage multiplier is so high in Vanguard on most of the weapons, this is an incredibly valuable attachment that will very often reduce the number of shots it takes to kill. So it's almost like this is stopping power from the past for Call of Duty. If a gun has access to the Vital Proficiency, you should definitely be using it. Next up, I want to talk about a specific attachment stat that you definitely want to be aware of while creating your class setups. This isn't a particular attachment. This is something that will apply on several of the attachments, so it's more so just one of those stats you want to look out for. And this is Flinch Resistance. Flinch is a very important stat in Call of Duty. When you have a high amount of flinch, it massively decreases the odds that you're going to be winning your gunfight if you're challenging people at medium to longer ranges. Now for SMGs or guns that you're planning on using just up close and personal, you don't have to worry about flinch resistance all that much. But on assault rifles, flinch resistance is important, and on marksman rifles and sniper rifles, flinch resistance is an absolute necessity in my opinion if you want to be experiencing the true potential of those guns, because if you do have a marksman rifle or a sniper rifle in your hands, your flinch is going to be much higher than if you were using one of the other guns in the game. So again, this isn't a particular attachment, it's more so just an attachment stat that you want to look out for, and you always want to try your best to increase your flinch resistance and stay far away from any attachments that harm your flinch resistance if you're planning on challenging gunfights at mid to long range. But then moving on to our third attachment to keep an eye out for, this is another proficiency, and this is Gungho. Now with Gungho, this allows you to fire while sprinting, but unlike Gungho from the past couple Call of Duty games where it didn't actually improve your sprint out time, it would only allow you to continue firing while sprinting after the sprint out time completed. In Vanguard, Gungho literally eliminates the sprint to fire time. This means if you're sprinting and you pull the trigger with a gun that has Gungho on it, it will fire immediately. There's no delay whatsoever. And if you're an aggressive player, this is an absolute game changer. You can sprint around the map. If you run into somebody and you get caught sprinting, you can just delete them before they can even get aimed down sight on you, which is a huge change compared to what we normally experience. Even with SMGs, your standard sprint out time is quite slow when you compare it to the time to kill of the game. And if you do get caught sprinting, you normally won't even have a chance to fire a bullet before you're dead. Whereas with Gungho, now you've actually got a pretty decent chance in that gunfight, and this allows you to sprint around the map quite freely with basically zero punishment for sprinting. So like I said, this is an absolute game changer and must have if you're using SMGs or shotguns in the game. Then moving on to the next one, this is once again going to be a specific stat that you're looking for rather than an attachment, and this is the accuracy stat. Now, for those who missed my video yesterday, I covered this in great detail, and I'd highly recommend checking it out because it is quite eye-opening. But in Call of Duty Vanguard, most of the guns will have aim down sight spread or aim down sight bloom, which means the bullet won't go directly where you're aiming it when you pull the trigger. And this spread, on a lot of the guns at least, is wide enough that you'll absolutely be noticing this at mid to longer ranges. You will be missing shots that are directly on target just due to this inherent inaccuracy, and this is where the accuracy stat comes in when you're creating your class setups. The more attachments you have on your gun that increase this accuracy stats, the tighter that spread is going to be, and the more likely it is that you're actually going to be hitting your target when you're on target. On the flip side of this, you generally want to stay far away from any attachment that's going to be reducing the accuracy stat. There are very few exceptions to this. Even if you're using an SMG and planning on playing relatively up close and personal, I'd still recommend staying away from accuracy harming stats. And when possible, I'd still be looking for attachments that are going to improve that accuracy stat. And finally, there's one last type of attachment that I highly encourage you guys to use if you're looking to improve your gameplay performance overall, especially early on in the game's life cycle, where a lot of people are still learning the maps and the routes and the spawns, and therefore they're relying quite heavily on their mini-map. Additionally, it seems like the radar perk is a very popular choice. A lot of people are running that, and therefore if you fire a non-suppressed weapon, you're going to be showing up as a dot on the radar, and that's going to make you a free kill for many players out there. The good news is, for the first time ever, I believe, we have two different options for staying off the radar in Vanguard from two completely different attachment slots. The first option is the more traditional option, which is using a silencer. One of these silencers or suppressors that they have in the muzzle attachment. Most guns will have access to at least two suppressor options. You can use those to stay off the radar, or the other option that you have, if you want to use a different muzzle attachment, you can use the subsonic ammo type. This will also keep you from showing a red dot on the enemy's radar, even when you're not running a suppressor. And on your end, it does look a little bit weird if you've been playing Call of Duty for a long time, because you can clearly see and hear that you're not using a suppressor. But with those subsonic rounds, they will keep you off the radar exactly the same as a suppressor will. So I'd recommend, at least on a lot of your setups, you should be running at least one or the other on your gun. Either that subsonic ammo type or a suppressor from the muzzle section. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on the top 5 attachments and attachment stats that I'd be looking out for currently while creating my class setups. If you pay close attention to these attachments and these stats, and you include them when appropriate for your weapon and playstyle, they can have a huge impact on your ability to win gunfights and stay alive longer in the game. Now, of course, these are just my top 5 after extensive testing with a ton of the attachments so far. Of course, if there's any that you feel should have been on this list that I missed, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.